How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of our podcast. Today, we are freestyling a little bit, but we have a goal in mind, and that is to kind of talk about the state of automotive YouTube from our perspective. Before we dive in, we're just kind of briefly touch on a couple things. We just filmed one of the last episodes of Car Rant here at my house. John came down to visit for Easter weekend. So when this comes out, it comes out. Because, you know, between the holidays and me moving out and everything else, a lot has slowed down. But, yeah, it's kind of bittersweet, given that this is like the last official thing that we're filming here ever. I know, like, I had some pretty hefty plans. John was basically going to have an apartment in my house, and we were going to have a big old shed outside, our own dedicated film space upstairs, all that stuff, but life has other plans. Hopefully we can find a good spot here soon to move into, you know, because we have to wait till this house sells in order to move to the next one. But, yeah, with that said, we're drinking some mini lattes I made. These are actually really good. We're using Kimbo Neapolitan coffee. It's an Italian import from Naples, Italy. It is delicious, smooth, not too bitter. What do you think overall?
This is good.
I know you really love your spot out there in Columbus. What is it? Espresso Air?
Espresso Air.
As someone who was there when they had first started as well, that is some really good coffee. Dude knows what he's doing. So props to the man.
Shout out to Leap.
But who knows? Maybe one day we'll film an episode there. How funny would that be? But like, yep, it is pull-up window only because a bunch of schmucks from Northern Virginia are taking over the store. John, you had literally admitted not even 20, 30 minutes ago about how we basically don't watch any more automotive YouTube on YouTube. Like, we basically don't watch anything anymore.
Nope. I occasionally, the only channels I really watch now, I used to have a laundry list of channels.
Oh, both of us did. I still have a couple that I definitely am like faithful to, but
for sure,
I think one we both agree that's changed a lot. TJ Hunt, Ivan Shanks, Throttle. Even Amelia Hartford in a lot of ways has changed. The dog says hello.
I never got into watching TJ Hunt. I was never really a big TJ guy.
I was an early TJ fan. Y'all who watch this and know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Where it was just the homies in the garage. It was before he got big and had tons of money. I think Sabrina had just entered the picture. Like, that's when I was watching. You know, basically just after the paintball days. Yeah, he used to be a paintball YouTuber, believe it or not.
Yeah. I think I wasn't a TJ guy. The guys I watched consistently, Evan Shanks, Donut.
Yes. T-Dibs, that dude in blue.
Yep, that dude in blue. I watched a little bit of Amelia Hartford, not too much. Man, I could keep going. Fitment Industries, when Alex was there.
Pre-Alex leaving, yeah.
Yep.
The OG crew of that.
Mm-hmm. That was probably my biggest things that I would probably watch on automotive YouTube.
Let me ask you this, to help kind of curate this conversation a little bit. What was the reason why you liked watching all these people?
Honestly, it was just entertaining. And I was watching these channels years. I was still in high school when I was watching these channels.
Yeah.
Which is about 4 years ago. And so the thing is I liked watching Donut because it was super educational, but it was extremely entertaining. And you felt connected to the presenter. Fitment Industries did the same thing.
The edutainment was a big part of it, I know.
Evan Shanks was cool to watch because it was vloggy almost.
Down to earth.
You got to just see his day-to-day,
what
projects he was working on, what he was buying next, type of stuff. It was really down-to-earth content, which I enjoyed watching. Nowadays, I watch more just automotive reviews on YouTube. So, like, I'll still watch that dude in blue. I'll still watch Alex Martini on his own thing now.
Martini Racing or whatever they call it.
Yeah. And I watch, but really, the two biggest channels I probably watch now are Throttle House and Doug DeMiro.
I love that meme when they finally released the supercut. Oh my God. It got annoying halfway through, but it was so funny. I would argue, and it's something that I think you probably agree with, but you just don't know how to fully articulate, is one of the biggest things that you loved about those guys back then is how down to earth and real it was. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
It was less teacher in a classroom and not Mr. Beastified yet. Where everything was bigger than the before, larger and larger. There was something about a grassroots effort that we all love, we all appreciate. Mm-hmm. I'll be the first to admit it. Car Rant has had a lot of changes in the now 9 years we've been putting videos on YouTube. Hard to believe, but 2026 will be year 10 for us.
That's crazy.
Yep. This is since you were still in middle school. That's how long we've been uploading content. But when we started in the beginning, it was very down to earth. Hey, this is how we do this modification. This is how we do that. And there'll be a lot of that coming up in the next chapter. More about that at the end of the video. But when it comes to what made Auto YouTube fantastic from 2015, even a little bit earlier, that I go down to maybe 2013, 2012, till right before the pandemic, is that it all really was just you and you're one of the homies hanging out in the garage, mm-hmm. right? Hey, I'm telling you about this thing, but I'm telling you about you like you're my friend, not my student. You know what I'm saying? The difference in that edutainment style. Science garage. That was fun for someone like me. Maybe not for everyone, but I really enjoyed the approach given. Also because, what was his name? Bart was just hysterically funny.
It was how he described things.
He has a cornballish kind of approach to demonstration.
Yeah.
Turbochargers. Like, that was just kind of the way that he was. And then, of course, our boy, who's now doing speed. What was his name again?
Why can't I think of his name?
We both know who it is.
It's up to speed guy.
It's the up to speed guy. But you remember, Ram Chargers. Like, there were little things that were funny that made it stick.
Yeah.
But there are also those moments of real that we really enjoyed. And I think that's the main reason why Donut is really struggling to kind of keep the level of viewership they used to have. Because they kind of lost a little bit of that flair. But also, the one thing that they still do that keeps it to a degree is the, it's not rich versus poor. What is it?
I thought it was like build versus build. High-low,
there we go. It is build versus build, but they did the expensive car and the cheap car. Mm-hmm. So many people resonate with that because that's most of us on planet Earth that are in the cars, right? The low aspect versus the high aspect. And if you watch and you go back in time and you look at old videos till now, you can really see the change from low cars to high cars with everybody on the platform. It's not just TJ, even though he's the one that everyone points to, because he went from a Subaru BRZ to Lamborghinis and Porsches being stuck in Germany, mm-hmm. like stupid amounts of money being floated around, G-Wagons, a house in the hills, bro. What? Like, I get it, he grew up in the area, but like at the same time, like Beverly Hills and all that is not a cheap place to live. Right? So that ability to resonate with people is being lost. You might remember Boosted Boys. They started out with blowing up Honda Civics and whatnot with big turbos, and suddenly they started making some money. Mm-hmm. And you notice how like some things kind of started shifting more and more towards the bigger and crazier. Great example. We love her, Amelia Hartford. We love her. We really do. But there's a stark difference from the Drift 240 days and where we're at right now. And a lot of the same thing has happened where people just look for bigger and bigger and bigger and better. Just this escalation of terms, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing is it's you kind of narrow it down to build versus bought.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Where I feel like a lot of these guys, but honestly, and I will say this, I would probably do the same thing because I kind of am. But it's one of those things.
Hold on, because let me clarify my stance real fast. it's not just build versus bought. It's now we're in a level and a stratosphere that none of us can attain anymore. So it's gone from relatable to like just kind of like how Mr. Beast is famous for doing bigger and crazier stunts and all that stuff. Sure, there's other things that, you know, got his name out there that are controversial and whatnot. But at the beginning, it started with one thing and it moved to another. And in my opinion, that relatability is being lost, and it's why we're losing content on YouTube. What were you going to say with your builder spot?
I think, well, I'll use Evan Shanks as a good example. When I was introduced to Evan Shanks' videos, he had the Evo 10.
Yes, Patrick Star and SpongeBob.
Yes.
Yep.
And I remember I watched back at a couple of his videos when he had the Subaru, which he ended up buying back. I remember that.
I wouldn't be able to tell you because the video was put under members only. Another thing I have a gripe about.
So that's an issue I have with. But in terms of
we'll get to that later.
Yeah, in terms of built versus bought, it's one of those things for me where it's a lot of these YouTubers started with built, and then they went to bought, and then they built those bought cars. The nice thing about the built side of built versus bought is usually it's you take a janky car or something that maybe isn't fantastic out the gate, and you turn it into something that's super cool.
It's buildable. Yeah.
But like with bought, you already have something that's gonna
out the gate
that's already good.
Yeah.
That's why like I looking back on it, I love this. But when Evan bought his AMG GT, and he wide bodied the thing and all that stuff, I was like, this is super cool build, and I was with it that whole journey because I was just like, I love this car. But it was one of those things too, though, where in the back of my head, it just felt like I was watching like a millionaire show off his collection.
And that's what I was getting to.
Like an Andrew Tate almost. Like I have 30 supercars, whatever it is. But
and
that's how it feels.
That's what I was getting at. Is that relatability is gone. The personability is gone. Even if it's the same guy and he's doing the same thing, but to something that's so unattainable, and the numbers for the parts are in the stratosphere as far as cost goes, we just can't relate to that. And I feel like that's why a lot of these guys that are trying to start doing YouTube are starting off with these crazy expensive, crazy ridiculous cars already. I would argue that technically Car Rant falls in that category because of where the Evo went as time went on. But the difference is that had zero sponsorships. So everything, I literally had a whole video, every single penny that was spent on that car, every single dime. You knew exactly where those things went, right? And I gave the presentation as this is a realistic what it could cost you to do this too kind of thing. Because I want people to enjoy those cars. I love Evos. You have a love for them too. That's a little different from mine. But I love Evos because they are insanity embodied in a car. And being able to showcase people that you can do this too, and here's how I did it, versus I got this Evo. It's a hard to find thing. Now I'm going to drop triple-digit money on, or six-digit money on this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just an impossible task in modern YouTube, in my opinion, to be able to capture that level of lightning in the bottle that we no longer have. Right? There was that genuine, heartfelt, hey, you're a homie in the shop with me thing. A lot of what helps promote auto YouTube to where it's at is now not doing that. Except for a couple of people. And we both agreed on this when we sat in Waffle House earlier today enjoying some All-Star Brekkies. That dude in blue, 100%, has kept what made him great.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, for me, David Patterson is that guy that he's still relatable. I completely agree with that. But the one thing I will say is most of his content now has nothing to do with building a car.
He's had to take a lot of time off from that due to travel and whatnot. He explained it in a couple of videos at the beginning of the year. So there's that part of it. because now he's going all over the world to film cars.
He's doing events and
How are you supposed to build a car when you're halfway around the planet?
Right.
Yeah. Even with like Hoonigan, for example, when the guy started leaving the show, the vibe changed, right? That chemistry that was there, that was had with the audience, with all of them together, was gone. And there's only a couple people from that I actually still follow. Hurt being one of them. Really love his stuff. Love what he's trying to do with Nappy Boy Auto. Also, we both can agree that we were bopping the brat for like 3 months straight.
Yeah.
Brat. And that was such a well-produced thing. And ironically now I follow T-Pain not for his music, but because of his actual streaming content is so good.
Yeah.
The scene where Pitbull walks in the room, Dale. He freaks out because he did it back. But I guess from here, let me ask you this question. What do you think needs to happen to Auto YouTube to recapture that spark? Because we're at a point now where everybody does something so unique, nobody's unique, without doing something insane and different and off the wall.
Well, insane is the new normal.
And that's what I'm saying.
Doing some ridiculous build is now the new normality to become popular, famous on Automotive YouTube. It's not. It can still be a clean build or whatever, but like it's not. It's no longer about a simple, clean street build that is gaining that attention. It's about, I threw a Formula 1 V10 in a Mark V Supra, and now it's a drift car. Like,
I mean, I'd watch
which super cool build, because it's the same dude that did the what is it, the 458 swap BRZ.
Oh, it's Ryan Turk.
I want to say he did the thing.
I need to watch that.
It's builds like that are normal. It's not, just taking a stock engine anymore and just building upon it and what you have.
Yeah. The street build is becoming more and more a rare thing on YouTube, but not so much on stuff like regular social media, Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook, of all places.
Social media, and honestly, this might have something to do with just this might have something to do with just the attention span of 21st century human beings and Gen Alphas, Gen Zs,
even millennials,
where 15-minute videos just don't, like, I can capture the essence and everything that happens in a 15-minute video in a couple of Instagram clips talking about the same stuff.
Which is crazy, because we've done the same thing here on my own channels.
Right.
Like, even on Fatter Dapper, my men's fashion channel. Like, kind of wild how that one clip will go crazy viral, but maybe you won't watch the whole video. A great example, because I just showed John this, it's like the WNBA, but all dudes. Stupidly funny clip from Smosh Games, but people know the clip, that they don't know the rest of the video, which was also stupidly funny. But you would never know about the rest of the video because you only watch a condensed piece of it, and thus the rest of that side of YouTube suffers from it, right? Yeah. It's a symptom of our attention spans, stuff like that.
But I think that's just social media in general, where, and that's the thing about, I feel like social media is it's just, you're only showing people the good parts.
The highlight reel.
The highlights.
Yeah.
It's like, you're only showing the people of Michael Jordan dunking, not Michael Jordan working out to dunk the ball.
Or shooting 100 shots every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the thing now, where it's
the One Punch Man fight sequence, and not the 100 sit-ups, 100 curls,
yes.
100 yards.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. It's not any of that.
Because I'll watch automotive social media things, and typically it's just, here's a GT3 RS, and here is
final product.
Here's this. Oh, I hate. Why, I don't know why this is a style of shooting video, but it's just zoom in, quick pan, quick pan, quick pan, quick pan, quick pan. That's all these videos are.
It's the most Vogue sounding photo shoot I've ever heard of. Over here, Miss Scarlett. Whatever the case might be.
Yeah, but that's all people like to see, is they want to see the finished product, and I feel like the thing that made Automotive YouTube back in the day so cool was
you could see the process.
You got to watch them suffer building this car.
You know what's a great example of that kind of build? And this is something that, for whatever reason, it's still popular. The people still love it. Nakai-san building Railville cars. There's a whole contract media situation around every single one of them. And there have been several people who have hired film crews to film the entire process. Those videos, huge amounts of views.
Yeah.
Because they like watching that process. Now, we don't get to see that half the time. And it's almost like a lost art. And yes, you could argue that some people still do it, but they're doing it on things that are either so, like, just not in the purview of what we're wanting to see, or they're highly unattainable.
Yeah.
With the Ralveld, it's different because those are more works of art than anything else, because it's an artistry thing versus like here's something I bolted onto a car already, you know. It's the difference between a molded kit and a bolted kit, right? Ralvelds, for the most part, are bolted, but there is levels of molding and customization and everything else that goes into it, more so than a Street Fighter kit from Hunt & Co. Just saying that. Saying it. And I say this as someone who is going to go do the old school traditional Japanese body design on my Evo. John, you remember this.
Yep.
I was going to do the full June Racing body kit and whatnot because I loved the way that kit looks. It really highlights a lot of the better accents on the car. But that's a bolted on thing, whereas someone sitting down and creating a brand new Aria Amamiya, bro. Seeing someone professional do that, I would just sit there with popcorn on the TV that you can't see and just, wow, the whole time, you know, just wide-eyed like a kid at the candy store, watching them paint the stripes on the candy canes. Like, we're losing our sense of wonder. I think you said that earlier. We're losing our sense of wonder, and that's why YouTube for car guys is really suffering.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is it's like anything. This applies to social media or for YouTube, where it's everything is so trendy, especially in the car culture.
Oh, God.
Everything is so trendy.
So, you remember, speaking of trends, how fast they end is what's really killing things. Remember the 9mm dance thing? Watch my 9mm go bang. Wa-da-da-dang.
Yeah.
Right? That was 3 years ago. How fast did that leave?
It ended in like 6 months.
Not even. It ended in like 6 weeks, but people still did it because they wanted to jump on and do their own bit for it.
Yeah.
Half of them don't know how to dance, but that's a different discussion. But you're right, and even Fitment Industries highlighted the fact that trends were accelerating back even when Alex was at Martini. That's why I brought that up, because I think, didn't they also do a spoof of that too? I'm trying to remember. I think it was him that did the spoof.
I don't remember.
Either way, they highlighted the fact that the trends were moving so fast that saying, oh yeah, this is what 2024 is going to look like or 2025 is going to look like, that information was just completely wrong within a couple of weeks, not even a couple months.
Yeah. I think there's some trends that stayed along for a long time. I think that there are some that aged very poorly and went away very quickly. I think of it like this. Like wide bodies is a really good example. Wide bodies to me kind of went out of style.
Big time.
But they were in for years.
I would argue they were in like super hot, probably 2015 to 2018. They stuck around because of new generations of cars getting body kits. But at that point, it was already dying out. It was like the fact that, like, neon, huge in the 90s and early 2000s. Underglow. We then got LEDs. Woo! Yeah. Everyone's doing LEDs now. Nobody does it anymore. It's completely gone. And that was only 2 years ago, maybe 3, when that was like kind of becoming a hip thing. And truthfully, as a quick aside on the trend side of things, I could easily see the new trend moving forward to be anti-trendy. Because you know how there's always like
everyone else isn't doing.
Well, it's more of like intentionally not doing things. Right? Everybody, hear me out on this. Everyone always gets the same style of wheels. Okay, instead of doing the same thing everyone else is doing, I'm going to go get a set of Ronald teddy bears now and slap them on a Civic because it's different. Oh, you want some lovin's, huh? There you go. Oh, yeah. The dog needs some love and attention, apparently. What else was I going to say? Or for another, like, because there's always like a counter movement to whatever big movement's out there, right? We had punk, then we had post-punk and pop-punk era, where now it was chic to wear that stuff again. So now punk's whole point of being countercultural is no longer relevant because it's no longer countercultural, right? With the car situation, I could easily see keeping cars more stock than modded, but it's modding out other aspects of it. And if they do, they don't do what people expect to do. They do something that goes against the grain. They intentionally make cars ugly, kind of thing.
I think that's what's in his OEM Plus.
Is that? See,
I think
I've been out of the game for a little while, and I still call it.
Because the thing is no, but it's really interesting because I was talking to guys at work. For reference, he has two cars. He has a built-out 1J swapped Mark III Supra.
Yeah.
Making like 500 horsepower.
Jeez, bro.
But his daily is it's a 20 teens IS 300. It's the V6.
Okay.
And he was actually showing me the other day what he wants to do with his IS. He wants to do like a lip kit, wheels, lower it. Essentially what I want to do with my Merc.
It's like a street build.
So like a
really nice street build.
Really basic street build.
He's not trying to go race car like I did.
No. And he looked at me and he went, I'm kind of going for like a exaggerated OEM Plus. I'm like, it's exactly what I'm trying to do too.
And they all look good.
But the thing that me and said coworker were also discussing was talking about how the culture is like just so accustomed to that now. Every G80 and every G80 M3 gets the same carbon grille, gets the same yellowed out, DRLs.
They get the same part numbers, no less, on some of those items.
It's all the same stuff. Like you go to a car meet, oh my God, there's 10 G80 M3s. Oh my gosh, 6 of them have the grille, and all 10 of them have the yellow DRLs, and they all have they all have this or this.
And I could even attest to that for like the Japanese side of things too. So many dudes build the exact same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Evo 10 guys, y'all are notorious for this. Carbon copies of each other most of the time.
Oh, 100%.
And it's because they saw it on some social media, whether it's YouTube or everything else, and they wanted to clone it for themselves because they saw some of the attention it was getting, or they themselves liked the style. Personally, I like the boys that are all about it for the style versus, say, it for the attention, because the guys that are in for the attention have no respect for the cars. None whatsoever. No. We're talking about the whistling diesels, right? Yeah, I crushed it because I hate you guys.
But I like whistling diesel. Hot take.
And that's going to end the channel for the day. We'll see you guys somewhere else. No. But, like when he crushed the Lambo and the R34s. The R34s, that was
I didn't like that. I think I more so like the fact that
he just doesn't care.
I think I like his I don't care attitude. I like the fact that he's pretty much blacklisted from Ferrari for burning that F8 in a cornfield.
Jeez, I missed that video. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's a crazy. Yeah, he drove like an F8 through it was like a dried up field in the middle of nowhere, and all the dried up bits of like grass and stuff like that got stuffed in the air vents and caught on fire. And then they just got out of the car and the fire department didn't show up in time.
Throwback to us talking about Ferraris catching on fire on the highway in the Spooktober videos. The 458 Italia just randomly combusting because the adhesive was melting at engine running temp. Yeah. But anyhow, no, it's just, and how does this all correlate to where we're at with the YouTube situation? It's because there's no real inspiration to do something just to do it. It's all about clout and uniqueness and everything else. Mm-hmm. We are losing some of that heart and soul on the platform. Hot take.
I agree.
I mean, we even talked about on a different video that we did get some decent traction on, that YouTube as a whole needs to change its direction away from bigger and bigger and go back to here's the basics and here's just us hanging, because we're losing a lot of that social connection, right? Studies are showing that parasocial relationships are rapidly rising, very high. It does not help that there are all these apps out there that are creating AI significant others, male or female, doesn't matter, or whatever other, thing you want to throw out there. So we're losing connection to people. So because we're losing connection to people, the parasocial relationships are starting up. Truthfully be told, the YouTube side of everything, how does this play into this? That is a parasocial relationship, but it's failing. Because now the thing that people want to see is no longer being presented. When it's no longer being presented, some people start clicking away. It starts affecting the algorithm. I had no idea that Evan Shanks had posted anything for 7 months.
Yeah.
Saw nothing. Even on Instagram, didn't see it for months. The things that I had seen, every couple of weeks I might see a VinWiki video because it happened to be popular that day.
Yeah.
Right? Not because I was subscribed to it or anything like that. Doug DeMuro probably has been uploading because the man's a machine. Haven't seen anything from him, and I'm subscribed to both of his channels.
Yeah.
I could keep going down the list. I actually unsubbed from some people because the content really wasn't about the cars anymore. It was about using the cars as a medium to kind of chase clout.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think, and I can say this just from being...
Or it got really sales pitchy. Hopefully you know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah, I know for sure. But in terms of the clout thing, I kind of can see it from a business perspective. When you start buying cars that are in the six-figure range and you start getting into that tax bracket of people,
it's a different audience altogether.
Cars are a business tool for these guys.
Exactly.
That's how they make connections and everything. So I definitely see that 100%. And I definitely can also see why they're doing it that way, to build further connections, to work with people that are now in this industry. But,
I mean, take it like this, TJ's now a consistent figure found at SEMA.
Right.
A lot of people, that's their ultimate goal with their channels. For us, not really. We'd rather go to the auto show where they're showing off what's coming out next, whether it's Washington, Tokyo. If we can get lucky and get a New York or London auto show, bro, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I go to Chicago. Chicago auto show is where it's at.
If it's in the airport, sure, because I don't want to get shot. Hot take.
Columbus is pretty good. They did really good last year.
But like, we would rather see what's coming next, not because we don't care about the mod community, because that's how we got started. But it's more of like, we love to see the future potential, right? So much of our social media now is swarmed with stuff that's done. We want to go back to the raw material. A lot of people have been saying, and it's funny too. I had this thought in preparation for this video. It's just like the Fast and Furious franchise. Auto YouTube literally followed the same path.
Oh, for sure.
Fast 1, 2, 3, all about cars, all about the grassroots side of stuff. Sure, there was some action sequences and there was some, subplots and all of that stuff, but it was very auto-centric. Then we get to Fast 4, now it's being more narrative-driven. We get to Fast 5.
Which is my favorite
now the
film.
cars are more tools and a medium by which to get the story going than it is about the cars themselves. Right?
Yeah.
Because you flash back to Fast 1, talking about NOS systems, turbonetics, turbochargers, all this stuff. The parts are on the floor. Glorious shot. Every car guy ever loves that shot, whether you like muscle or not or anything else. By Fast 6...
I think Fast 5 was like the happy medium between, it was still about the cars.
That equilibrium was found.
Fast 5 is my favorite movie in the franchise. Hot take.
I'm personally a Fast Furious Tokyo Drift and Fast 7.
7's probably my second favorite.
But that's mostly because I cried in a movie theater in Fast 7.
Right. But I definitely agree with you.
We've literally followed that trend, and everyone's been crying out to Lynn and the guys at Universal to go back to that. And according to them, if they
They're
make
going.
another, they're supposed to be going back and following up on other stories or starting new ones in the same universe. They should do that. Because it kind of goes back to us talking about, like, making a good video game, how so many of them are just the same thing over and over again.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You know, still one of our more popular videos that was not a review, so shout out to all y'all watching. But it's the same concept can be applied to the automotive YouTube side of things of, like, what people want to see. You know what I'm saying? Sure, some people love the monotony of just playing the same season and series over and over. This guy plays Formula One. There's nothing new under the sun in that game, is there?
Dude,
Other than the new cars and the new setups that they have for those cars.
yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's the same Monaco track where I crash in turns 8 and 9.
Or fly off a wall in Shanghai when it rains.
Yeah.
I remember being on the call for that. But it gets back to my point of, like, it's been so same that people are bored of it and they're just not following up anymore. And that's causing more erosion to our platform and what we do.
So I think the question is, though, how do you fix it?
Truthfully, go back to zero a little bit. Start from the beginning. Take something that nobody cares about, clapped out shells. Not necessarily nobody cares about, but you know what I'm saying when I say that. Case in point, a fantastic example is Kintsugi. It's sitting at Ian's house. It's our 240 drift shell.
Right.
If we reshot a lot of what we did with that and made it more cinematic, and that's an aspect I'll get to in a second, and got back to doing that, I know that we would get views for it. And I know that these bigger channels, if they went back to that and went through the whole struggle and shot it more like a vlog and less like a Discovery Channel video, truthfully, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of these videos that are being put out there now by YouTubers feel that way. I would argue that Amelia Hartford still keeps a good sense around her vlogs, but the cars she's working on now are just stratosphere. We are never going to touch those in our lives, right?
Right.
Because that's the other part of it is the accessibility, right?
Yeah.
So many of these mod channels are just cars none of us could ever touch.
Yeah. Well, I think, and again, YouTube has its place for the exotic car channels.
Oh, and it's huge.
Daily Driven Exotics.
Dr. M3.
Savage Garage when it was a thing.
JR Garage back in the day.
All of those channels have their place. And honestly, I love watching their, like, police videos. The police compilations that they'll make.
Oh,
When
God.
they get pulled over. I love those. I love watching those videos because it's just entertaining. But
DDE especially.
especially DDE. And the thing is I feel like automotive YouTube, it used to be just the builds and the bots. Now I feel like you have a middle category building the bot.
And I would agree with that.
Where now you have the Amelia Hartfords buying C8 Corvettes, buying Z06s, buying more expensive cars that are already performance oriented out the gate and improving upon those things.
Yeah.
But now I feel like with that new category of automotive YouTube, the built side of it and the part where it's relatable builds, because it's one of those things where it's like you watch an Evan Shanks video on his Evo 10 and it's like, I could do that.
Yeah, it's almost
like
tutorial-ish.
It's almost tutorial-ish. But it's like now it's like, I mean, he hasn't had the AMG GT in a minute, but I mean, even though I enjoyed watching that series, I'm like, I can never do that because I could probably never own this car.
Let alone touch it.
Like I get to touch them now. But
You get to now.
I get to now.
I've never actually been able to interact with one other than it flew past me on the highway doing 65 over.
Right.
You know, because people be wilding out here. Yeah, no, and I see where you're coming from with the building the bot. This is something I would also say is expand your horizons. So many car channels do this. They basically fall into a couple of categories. You are building projects, you're buying cars and doing stuff with them, you're teaching about them or reporting to stuff like that, or kind of a homogeny of all of them. One channel that has done stuff differently, and I love it because for me, it's truly interesting and fun to watch, are challenge-based videos. And that would be Gears and Gasoline, right? One of the coolest videos I've ever seen, and I know it cost those boys a fortune. Shout out to the Bens. Y'all are cool. I miss you guys. I need to try and reach out to y'all whenever I'm back down that way. They did their cross country in their Evo 10, or was it Evo 10 or Evo 8? It was an Evo 8. The Evo 8 and the Subaru, right?
Right.
Going literally across the entire United States up into Alaska. Awesome.
Right.
That was so cool to watch because you got to see the cars get built, and then, hey, by the way, this is what we're doing with them. John knows this, the internet doesn't. I was actually planning on doing a cross country only on trails excursion with the Pajero. I was going to go from here all the way to Moab and then up into the Pacific Northwest to go visit my family out there as one giant journey. And it was going to be me and the dog. We would have stop over in Ohio to see John. We were going to stop, basically go from Virginia to Ohio, down to Tennessee, hit Missouri, and go across Texas and Arizona and New Mexico, like all through there to get to Utah. And then taking trails again, going up into the PNW and to Washington State. I mean, how cool of a video would that be?
Yeah.
Right? It'd be a full series where we would just film for, at that point, it would probably be almost a month. Yeah. But I would tune into that.
I think
it's borderline Bear Grylls, bro.
Yeah.
Because I'd be living in a tent. I wouldn't be staying at hotels. I'd be either at trail lodges or whatever the case might be.
Or whatever. Yeah.
But the whole point was to just cross country the entire way to see if you could even do it.
Yeah. I think a part of automotive YouTube that I think we've lost and we could go back to is just the soul of the car.
Yep.
That is part of why I like Whistling Diesel, is not his antics with the Ferrari or any stuff like that. It was his G-Wagon video.
Where he like actually fell in love with the car?
Where he drove it like it was supposed to be and not a pavement princess. And
so talk to me about it, because I've not seen this.
He beat this thing up.
I mean, it's a tank.
But like,
it's a $250,000 tank.
It's a big tank.
But it's a tank.
But he off-roaded the thing. He drove it like you would probably do your Pajero on these trails.
Like it did do in some cases.
He treated it like an off-road vehicle.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that series, and I'm just like, I love that is what that is capable of doing. And I feel like part of it is just like every car has a purpose of what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like all we do is we're not building cars with a purpose anymore. We're just spending money, highest horsepower. Can I get to 1,000? Can I get to whatever number it is? And then they call it a day. And I'm just like,
in certain instances, that's fun to watch, like breaking the C8 in to try and finally hit the world record.
Right.
That's cool because it's a world record thing.
Right.
But there comes a point where it's like, okay, you did that. Now what? Where do you go from here? Mm-hmm. Right? That story is over.
Yeah.
You hit the record, it's done. Someone beats it, cool. Now you try to do it again.
Right.
But like, that's just same song, second verse. Right? Where do you go from there? The longevity is what I was getting at earlier with expanding your horizons. We are losing channels to that vicious cycle of bigger and better and all that because we don't know what else to do with cars. And I'm saying experience the cars, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Experience cars for what they're for. Doing those challenge videos allows you to capture the essence of cars. I try to do it as best I can when I do my own videos to like showcase like the way this thing makes me feel and everything else. I mean, John, off camera, got to experience a little bit of what My Little Red Beast does. And we have another video talking all about that classification of car. But I think I convinced him that maybe someday you should try and buy one of your own. Question mark?
I definitely want an SUV.
that'd be the one to do it in, because it's fun and it's stupid tight for some reason.
But I want to jump an SUV.
Well, guess what? That one's going to be more affordable to keep and maintain. And the insurance is cheap.
It's cheap, for sure.
Plus, there's just an aspect to the car where you really feel a connection to it because of the way it drives. Mm-hmm. And also, for you especially, it's a NA4B11. Which is your baby. You know that motor. Mm-hmm. It's like me with a 4G. I know that motor. I can feel it, know what's going on. So there's just those elements about the car that we love and enjoy, and I would love to showcase that in our videos moving forward as a way to be like, hey man, you don't need some glitzy $60,000-$70,000 car nowadays, more like $100,000 car, in order to feel passionate about something. Dude, you could be the biggest fan of the Lancia Stratos and never be able to touch one, but you could be a fan of something a lot more approachable and just fall in love with that thing, and we are losing that love affair with cars.
Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson is famous for the whole quote talking about how it's not a machine, it's a soul on wheels. Mm-hmm. Dude, all these channels with these buying and selling and trading in and all that, you cannot tell me that they're feeling that car for what it's meant for.
No. It's a but again, when you go up into that, I hate using tax bracket as a word, but it's
true.
When you get into that tax bracket,
Every no way I'm buying a car at $30,000 a year of income. That's $250 grand, right?
When you get into that tax bracket, your cars stop becoming like a fun thing. They become investments, and you buy it because you can. You do some networking with it. You get some more business partners. You make a couple more million, and then you sell the car. You buy something different.
And it's heartbreaking.
As ridiculous as that sounds, that's how it works. And the thing that I feel like, and you know, going to like our channel, for example, the thing that I really regret, I tell this to all my friends, my biggest regret was selling a Type R.
Yeah.
That was my biggest regret.
Because you loved that car.
Because I loved that car, but the next new shiny thing popped up.
And that was the Supra.
And then, the Supra blew up, and then the Lancer also blew
Spoiler alert.
CarMax doesn't know that.
Oh, no, that car is long sold since then.
I sure hope. Poor soul that bought that car. But it's under warranty for sure. It's whatever. But CarMax warranty. Anyways, but the thing that I want to do with the AMG is keep it longer than a year.
Yeah.
I kept the Type R for 9 months. I kept the Supra for like a year and 3. The Lancer I've kept the longest, and I just sold that.
And that was at its time for you.
And that, yeah.
I'll be the first to say that.
It served its purpose.
Wow.
It served its purpose.
Hashtag, he did his job. All my MTG guys, all my trading card game guys, y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, he did his job.
But with the AMG, it's a car that I want to experience to the fullest. It's a car that I might not do a ton to it like I wanted to with the Supra or with the Type R, but it's a car that I want to keep until the thing dies.
You ready? You ready for this? It's because you've now developed a taste of what the relationship aspects of car ownership is. Mm-hmm. Well, put your floaties on. It's getting deep now. There is a certain level of a relationship that you develop with the thing. Some people call it materialism. Some people call it sentimentality. Whatever you want to call it. As car enthusiasts, we have a love and respect for these things. And it's very hard to let that go once you find that one. You know, I have bemoaned selling my Evo for now almost 5 years. It's hard to believe. Yeah. But like, just because I had such a strong bond with the car, I knew the car inside and out. I knew when things were wrong. I knew when things were right. You know, I knew how it wanted to behave. And I was able to capture that in a lot of our videos. At least I hope people catch that. And that's something that I wish I saw in other people online. Right? Evan is one of the few people that I would say does that, but only for those specific cars. That red Subaru, dude, that was like his one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could find another one on that level because everything's going to be compared back to the Evo for me. For you, everything goes back to that Type R, right?
Yeah.
And there are people that are getting into cars now. They see how everything is, and they think they need to emulate that. When it's like, no. Get back to that heart and soul that we all loved,
Yeah.
right?
But and I think this is what automotive social media has really done to a lot of people is it makes people just dissatisfied with what they have.
Oh yeah, the contentedness is gone.
It's ridiculous. And even I'll even admit it because I'm like, I'll see a C63 coupe on Instagram and I'm like, dang,
Like you wish you had that instead.
that thing looks so good. And I'm like, and I'm like, man, I wish I had that. And maybe one day I will. To the expense of that, I don't know. We'll see. But
Oh boy.
the thing is because of how social media trends for the automotive industry, I feel like now are not what you do to your car, but what car you buy.
It really has become more status.
That's why so many of these dudes, it's such a huge trend. I noticed this. Guys who own Type Rs bought Supras.
Yeah.
And then they bought new M3s or new M4s.
So they just went after the next big thing.
They go after the next big thing. And the thing is
You know what we call that? Back in ye oldie boomer times, that was called keeping up with the Joneses. Whatever the nicest and newest thing is, you got to have that. We in my generation, millennials, call that FOMO, fear of missing
fear
out.
of missing out. Yeah.
You guys just call it being broke. Now that'll be a clip that goes viral.
But I think no one and I think this is the issue with automotive YouTube that has transferred to automotive social media and to the car culture in general is no one wants to take the time to build something that's their own.
Yeah.
My coworker with his Mark III Supra made a really good point of this where he's like, everyone in the scene in Columbus knows my car.
Yeah, it's recognizable.
Because I built it, it's my own, and it's unique to me.
Yeah.
But it's a recognizable car.
It has its own persona.
It has its own persona to it.
Yeah.
He's like the thing that and this is why he stopped going to meets a lot was just it's the same cars all the time.
Very cookie cutter.
And at least in the Columbus car scene, it's a little bit different here, but
oh no,
anything
it still happens here in the DC area.
Right, but anything in Columbus, in the Columbus car scene, these meets that you go to, it's like
just whole other level.
It's not even. It's just like these builds aren't quality.
Yeah.
It's either you either have a BMW that you did a flash tune on. You did what is the thing with BMWs? Downpipe and tune. You got an M3 with a downpipe and tune with
DPT
with a couple of aesthetic upgrades or whatever, or you have a 2015 Civic Si that's just slammed on its nuts and it's all
and on silver wheels with more than likely Nankangs, Nexans, or Continentals.
And that's it. And the thing is, it's like I have nothing against the stance scene. I have a very good friend of mine who's has a stanced TSX.
We both know a guy that does stance great, and that's Brad.
Right.
Right. The R34, the S15 before he sold it.
The GTI.
Fantastic cars. Even if his alignment was bunk, I had to fix it a couple times.
I mean, I got a buddy with a TSX. And honestly, I really appreciate him for doing what he's doing. And I will say this about the stance scene that I respect is every build, while it may be the same style of slamming the car in super tilty camber,
there's a lot of uniqueness.
Every car is different. My buddy's TSX has like a translucent wrap around it.
Oh, dude, those things are so good.
And he has like a
with the printing inside of it. So it's like ghost printing and whatnot?
No, it's just a regular translucent wrap.
Those ghost prints are dope.
Yeah. But the thing is, and this is why I have such a huge respect for him, is He does it all himself. He wrapped the car himself. He doesn't know how to wrap cars, but he wrapped it himself. He does most of the suspension work himself.
So it's true DIY.
Now he calls me when it's time to adjust his height on his coilovers, because I have that down to a T. Like I have him set up perfectly.
Sounds like he learned from the best.
Every time. He'll literally be like, he'll call me like, bro, what's up? I switched wheels. It's time. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Jeez, how often is he switching wheels that he has you on speed dial like that?
Pretty often. Pretty
Good
often.
God, mate.
I feel like at least once a year the past 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
Which he's selling his Inovias. So if anyone's trying to buy some Inovia,
He had a set of Inovias?
Inovia Titans.
Oh, I thought he had Elders.
Oh no.
Elders are gorgeous. Anyway.
But that's the only thing about, like, that's the stance community as a whole. I might not like the style of build that they do, but I have a huge respect for the work and the dedication that they put into those builds.
I do like the airbag riders.
Those guys are sick.
The bag rider dudes from the stance community, because they can set it back to like a good race stance. Those guys are dope.
But the thing that's interesting is,
Hi, Colton. How's my Laurel doing? That no one remembers me for having.
But the thing is, and I actually have a huge respect for the stance community in the sense of
uniqueness.
It's a uniqueness. It's a lifestyle. It's a family. Like, bro, you static? Yeah. You know, like,
bro, you natty? That's exactly what that sounds like.
But I feel like that's like the only group in the community that is like.
You know who else is like that? And I know this is way out of your purview, and that's why you don't know. The lowriders.
Oh yeah.
The hydraulic guys. Yo, those dudes, the old school Chicanos and everything else with Impalas. Those guys are real.
Yeah. There's certain groups of car people that always stay together.
Let me lay it out like this: the level of uniqueness is down to the pinstripe on those cars. Custom paint mixes. Sure, there are certain things that are a little cookie cutter in the sense of the 1,000-spoke wheels and all that, you know, the rim cutters and everything else.
Right.
But when it comes to what they do with everything else, the amount of custom that goes into that, we're talking engraved blocks, engraved engine bays, like custom additions to cars, such as the secondary tire on the back and things like that. Not the one, but getting a double, so that's cooler, you know. There's levels to those that are on brand with the Slam guys that I'm like, the two of y'all should be friends, but y'all busy about being West Coast versus East Coast. And I think they kind of really are, getting back to the YouTube side of it, I think they really are the last vestige of truly creative and truly unique, even if it's something that you see every day.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think that with Automotive YouTube,
it means that we now need to make a Slam car.
That's all you.
You're the one with the big old Euro outside.
This is very true. However,
I have a rally truck.
My car will not survive Ohio roads if I do that. Props to the dudes in Columbus who have static cars with the potholes that we deal with over in Ohio, because
I could never. Actually, I did.
We pay these taxes for what? We pay these taxes for what? Messed up roads. Fix the roads, Columbus.
You pay those taxes for nothing.
Fix the dang roads.
You gotta do what the guy did in the UK. He got spray paint and he drew a penis on the hole. So they came by to cover up lewd activities by filling the pothole. There's a dude that had a whole social media page actually here in the States that did that.
Guys, we're not street racing after meets anymore. I know what we're doing.
we're getting black spray paint and drawing dongs on potholes. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So, to wrap this up, because I know we've gone a little long and we do have to get ready to go to a family dinner, I would say that Auto YouTube isn't doomed. It's not going to fail anytime soon. You know, we started this season with we're not going anywhere. But I would argue that Auto YouTube needs to have a new renaissance. a new group of channels, or even the big channels are already there to help generate a new buzz around literally learning to live with what you have. I know that so many people, they invest in cars, and personally, we are guilty of it too. You know, for a long time, I owned 2 or 3 cars at one time. Even when I was like about to be homeless, you know, I still had multiple cars. You know, and here I am now. Sure, I've got 2 mopeds and the red Outlander outside. But if I got another car, like John and I were talking about this, I would do something I've never done before and document that process to challenge myself. We were going to do that with the Galahad build, but with me potentially moving to an apartment style living, I couldn't have done it, right? With where you're going, potentially getting an apartment and whatnot, it would be really hard for you to do that as well, you know?
Right.
But being able to do stuff with like the mopeds, and challenging myself to do something different with that, it's still automotive. Yeah. It's still interesting. And in fact, a lot of my car guy buddies all get itchy to try and drive my mopeds when they're done because they look cool and they're ridiculous. Case in point, this guy loved the Stretro.
Yeah.
Enough that we put it up there as like crown jewels for the channel.
That's one of my favorite things that's on the channel.
You know, so it's like you could do something that's unique and different and still be in this space, even if it's not what you expect. Yeah. I think subverting the status quo is going to be what saves it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm currently dealing with the struggle of do I want my next car or the car that I add on to the C43? Do I want this car to be 2020 or newer, like all the other cars I've been owning the past 3 years? Or do I want to go back?
One of us.
And still buy something that I want, but older, cheaper.
1989 190 EL with a 5-cylinder hammer block inside.
But I have a car in mind. I'm not going to mention it here, but
I'm trying to convince him of going super hot rod.
He's trying, and it's not working.
It's not.
I have a car in mind that I want to do something to. But
it is interesting though that we're having this conversation, and we're both down to 1 car.
Right.
Like for the first time ever, we're back down to 1 car each.
Yeah.
Even Ish has just the truck and Kintsugi shared between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird time to be alive. It really does kind of move some perspectives around.
But it's one of those things where, I mean, we've talked about this, where it was just, for me, going down to 1 car.
Oh, it made sense for both of us.
It made sense for both of us.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the best time for us to just go down to 1 car, go down to our roots.
Oh, yeah.
Chill out for a second. Have fun with the cars that we have. And then when the time comes, like for me, after I get an apartment, then I'm going to invest in an older car.
And a 2005 to 2009 Honda Metro so I can build it and you can have fun living in the city again.
Boom. Easy.
Granted, you'd be also probably terrified in your city unless I give you a 2-stroke.
Right. But I think that's the thing that we're doing is I feel like the thing that all automotive YouTube should just take a thing. And the thing is like you don't have to, TJ Hunt doesn't have to give up his supercars and stuff.
No.
But like, just go out there.
Enjoy those cars.
Enjoy the cars you got, which I know he does. But
let us see you do that.
But let's see you do it. And if you're gonna build another car, maybe build something that's relatable to the audience that you're selling to.
Or better still, build something that you yourself are highly passionate for. Mm-hmm. Right? John and I have talked about it. I would absolutely consider getting another Evo, especially if I move to Italy, because then I can get the Italian right-hand drive. That would be cool. Anyway.
Italianese.
But yeah, no, I'd be able to grab one of those, and I would 100% do another passion build. Maybe not go as hard in the paint because I want to get the Evo 9 wagon. I'm a sucker for that. I know, weird, whatever. I like quirky stuff. And I would love to be able to capture that for people who are all about it.
Yeah.
Because some of the best videos that we have are just loving the cars we have.
Yeah, and I think that...
I mean, imagine TJ doing a cross-country trip in that BRZ and going, like, having a destination race, and instead of trailering it there, he actually drives it there. I would watch that all day.
Yeah.
Just to see that, like, come to Jesus moment in the car where, you know, it's also why people love Roadkill.
Oh, yes.
Right? It was the personalities for sure, but it was also like they were doing it, man. They were about it. They were taking care of those cars. The Rotson, the Maserati.
Yep.
Like, bro, those things were iconic. Speaking of, a Honda Activan just shot by. Hi, neighbor. I know that you might not realize it's me. Yeah, he lives like 2 or 3 miles away. He's pretty close by.
I think it's cool.
He also has a K truck that he goes to town to get groceries with. It's pretty awesome. But ADHD. But yeah, no, like just seeing people be passionate about the cars again, I think would be the best thing for auto YouTube.
Yeah.
And also more theatrical content. Because like Petrolicious videos, Roby Works out there in Estonia, so good.
And
You've
so
seen those videos.
I have.
Fire.
Really good.
They're so good.
There's a car review channel. I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head, but they'll do some very cinematic review content of it. It just looks like a very long commercial, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Freaking love it.
And, I mean, I guess you can say, for us to practice what we preach, what are we going to do?
Oh, 100%. I got to go back to doing the mopeds because I love that. I've actually got a couple of plans lined up because we're going to be starting our next season after this comes out. And speaking of, we won't be doing the seasons anymore because we don't want to do the serialized content like we had been. We'd rather invest in doing as best a video possible. Highest level of production work we can do, stuff like that. So that we make the best videos so that people would want to watch them. Mm-hmm. So they don't feel like I shot this on an iPhone 4, right? They go, oh, wow, he's taking some attention to detail. There's like certain aspects we highlighted, all this stuff, you know, and then working really hard to make sure that the video looks great and things like that. The mastering is nice. But being genuine and real every single time that camera comes on.
Yeah.
We don't do scripts at all on this channel. There have been a few times where we'll write like a quick blurb real fast and read it just so that we don't like stumble on words. But otherwise, everything we have ever shot has been ad-lib.
Now, God knows how many it takes to do that, but...
Sometimes it's 27, and sometimes you just scrap the whole video and start over.
Yeah.
But we want to keep that, like, yeah, man, we're just chatting. Mm-hmm. We're in the shop. We're busting knuckles, slamming them into the, you know, whatever. Like, yeah. So for us as a channel, going back to those single cars and going back and just highlighting our lives and showcasing what we're doing with them is what I think we're going to have to do moving forward. And then maybe, who knows? I do enough mods to that thing, and maybe I go out to Ohio with the mopeds, and we go tour around town on these ridiculous mopeds that I build. Like, you know, Technicolor Dreamcoat might not be on one of them anymore, but why not?
Yeah.
Slap them on the back of the truck and pray to God it doesn't tip over.
I think the thing that I want to do more so, and my role on the channel definitely is more short form content.
Yeah, you do a lot of our news and our car stuff.
Especially recently, I do a ton of news stuff. I do a ton of stuff like that.
You are our sports guy.
I'm the motorsport guy, which I haven't kept up on last week, but that was cool. That was a cool weekend. Besides all that,
we'll catch up
on that. But
the news last week,
yeah,
you know.
But something I want to do in short form content, I kind of work on it on my personal page. That Gracie 43, check it out. But shameless plug.
It's every description box. We have our personal Instagrams in there, and also our collected one.
Right.
Speaking of, I got to get you the logins for that so you can start posting to it too.
Yeah.
But
I think more so, short form content for me is going to look like a lot of not random stuff, but it'll be a day in the life with the car, doing things with the car, going out to events with the car. Because I don't typically vlog and do a ton of stuff like that. It's just, it's
That's definitely a learned thing.
It's kind of a time-consuming thing for me as well.
Yeah.
And I'm someone that unfortunately does not have a ton of time. I'm not dying or anything,
Oh,
but like
so important, y'all. No.
I'm not like dying or anything. I promise. John has short time to live. No, it's not like that. But
This would be a very different video.
guys, but
I'm suffering from the stick it to the mania. School of Rock reference.
But that is kind of what you're going to be seeing from me is short form content about the car, what we're doing, even if it's just recapping a day, making
Yeah.
it super, super simple. But I think at the end of the day, for me, what I want to do is do what I do every day with the car.
Yeah.
Live my life with the car that I drive, with whatever build I decide to do in the future. I'm going to be doing I'm going to be a lot more involved with things that are going on with the car, good or bad, because I think part of it is, good example, I had that sensor issue.
Oh, yeah.
And I posted that.
Yeah.
I posted that to my Instagram, and I got clowned a little bit because they're like, "Is your sensor dirty?" And then
Lo and behold,
there was a rock chip on the sensor of all
Holy
places. There's a rock. It was the tiniest little ding
That's
in the
enough.
sensor, and it was enough to
kill the sensor.
kill the sensor. And
You know what's
but-
funny? I had the exact same thing years back with the Evo. Mm-hmm. Remember cam sensors suck?
Oh yeah,
Still get views on that. And they're like, yep, garbage. They get nicked all the time.
but I think that's the thing that we need to do automotive social media, which is kind of my thing, and automotive YouTube.
And just get back to basics.
It's
of
just like
living life.
talk about the bad stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
I think, like we mentioned, the finished product. Everyone sees that. That's all that they want to see. Man, I'm gonna tell y'all what's also wrong with the car
Oh, yeah.
through the pain and the issues, because I feel like it's being real. It's not just like, oh, I bought this car and it runs perfectly fine and this is the finished product. It's like, no. I debuted the wheels that I bought that weren't even on the car yet. I talked about the suspension I was putting on before I put it on the car. And then from there, with the sensor, I talked about the issue with the sensor and we got it fixed. And I think that if Automotive YouTube just went back to being real, explaining real issues with their cars, explaining the situations that they're in with their cars, why is this not running right? Why is this body aftermarket panel not fitting on the way it should?
Yeah.
What are we doing different? Because at the end of the day, we're probably out of everything, besides entertainment, we're educational.
Oh, yeah.
And so if everyone is just like, oh my God, here's the final product of this car.
I would argue not just educational, but DIY educational.
Right.
Which, as things get more expensive, is something that more and more people are looking towards. They're not looking towards professionals to do stuff. They're, how can I do this most affordably?
Yeah. How can I do it myself?
There's no way you're doing anything on a Ferrari yourself.
Exactly.
Because, A, Ferrari will just take the car from you at the Nyan Cat Ferrari, and just everything else with that. But, yeah, being down to earth, being honest, being genuine, showcasing the good and the bad, and putting in more effort to make things look good when you need them to. Like, I was even starting at one point to write music for the channel, so that when we finally did showcase something of a certain thing, because we had goals and plans in mind, it was going to be that, I made Where the Road Ends this is a track I made like 7 years
It was a
ago
while
now.
ago.
I was going to use that as the final episode for the Evo, where we made it to Mount Washington in New Hampshire, so I can get the bumper sticker on there, and then we would just roll over to a cabin that overlooks a valley kind of thing, and then there'd be the sunrise, and you would hear the music swell with the horns and everything else in the choir. It was meant to be as cinematic as possible because I wanted to showcase, like, we did it. Not me, not you, we. And that's something that so much of the content today is missing. It's more of, I did this, and it's less of, because of your viewership, we did this.
Right. And I think that's the community aspect of YouTube that I feel like is not a thing anymore.
No, it's very personality driven.
And I think that, regardless of if it's my build, if it's his build, if it's the main channel or extra, or if it's my Instagram page or his Instagram page or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's the people we interact with on a daily basis on those platforms that make it fun.
Yeah.
That make it entertaining, that make it, fun to talk about things. I remember when I released the initial reveal of the C43, I remember going through the comments of that video, and there was one guy on there in particular who actually said, like, this is super helpful because I've been looking at getting one.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Because there's an honest take on here's what I've got.
I'm just like, to me, and as a person, I'm like this, but like, to me, it's, wow, it was my honest review, the good and the bad of the car.
Yeah.
That influence someone's decision to be like, wow, I actually do want to get this car now. And I hope you bought it. If he's watching, I hope you bought it.
We don't have a lot of subscribers at this point on Extra. We're at like 9. We need some help, guys.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Feeling of being able to go, like, I helped you do a thing. We had a guy, he came back to the channel 6 years later and was like, I'm so proud of where you guys landed up. You know? Because it's like, he remembers Mitsu-chan and Rhonda in the very early days of the whole channel, and seeing the Evo go through its whole evolution, because he might have been like in the service or something like that. He was not American. But, he finally came back because the algorithm put one of our videos in front of him. And they're like, dude, not only did you, you made it. You did it, And then you did it again because the Pajero came back. And it's like being able to capture that over and over.
Right.
And then hearing people go, this channel should have more viewership and more everything. I was like, well, help us do that by subscribing.
Right. I'm part of the generation that is about the clout, that's about buying the next best thing.
But you're also part of that generation.
But I was also raised in the generation where, and this is why early 2000s Gen Zers are the best Gen Zers.
Oh, here we go. The Trump voice is out.
Because
This is why.
I didn't even go that route. I just but it was one of those things where I'm part of the generation that's all about the clout, that's all about just buying the next best thing.
Yeah.
But I'm also part of the generation where building something or making a masterpiece out of something, that
True creativity,
making it your own, has so much value. But when I was doing photography full time, it was one of those things where every shoot and every single time I went to edit something, I had like one preset. Everything else I would sit there and I would individually edit every single picture. It wasn't until much, much later that I had 3-4 presets.
Yeah.
But even then,
I still don't have a preset 6 years later.
yeah, most of these photographers, and they're fantastic, but most of these guys, 20, 30 presets.
Yeah.
They have something for every scenario.
I mean, and Ish, who I know will probably end up watching this, could definitely attest to it if he wants to in the comments, like the amount of dedication to the photo that he puts in there
and
to
for
make
me,
every set unique. Yeah.
For me, when I stopped doing photography full time, I was using quite a few presets. Now I made those presets myself. I was using quite a few of them. When I got back into shooting this year, and I worked with a client with a C8 Corvette, I went back to my roots, edited every single picture individually.
They looked fantastic, by the way.
Tweaked everything myself. Gave him the photos. The dude was over the moon happy.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I want to do with the next car. Or that's the type of content I want to put on my side of Car Rant.
I'm all for it.
Is just bare knuckles. We're going in.
Oh boy.
Here's the good. Here's the bad. Here's just what's going on. Doesn't even have to be anything legit. Like, it doesn't have to be anything legit. Oh, something good or bad happened. It's just, here's what's going on.
I would love to do like a joint effort build where we bring both of our ideas to the table. Granted, there's be some fist fighting over what model car, probably.
Oh, for sure.
And
We're
definitely
on two
over-
opposite ends of what we're looking at.
Let's just demonstrate the point of my dream car was an Evo. He's over here going SL62 or XL, whatever the
Yeah.
thing is. So I'm going long body sedan, short rowdy sedan.
You want short rowdy sedan. I want an SL. I want an old SL
This
series.
man went for the luxury,
Old
and I'm
sports
over
car.
here going, I want to be numb by the time I get out of the car.
Right. No, I'm gonna be a grandpa when I get that SL.
But at the same time, I'm also the guy who's going, I want a old Chrysler 500, or not 500, Chrysler 300 from the 50s, and just 7.2 liters straight in there.
Yeah.
Good old 440 Magnum, call it a day. Maybe on some airbags.
We be throwing hands trying
We
to
did
figure
a
out
joint build.
what car we wanted to get.
But I'm all for it with the just passion for the sake of passion
For sure.
versus clout. It's ultimately what it comes down to. You take the time and the effort to make the thing that you're doing look great, shows how much you love the thing you're doing.
Yes.
Right? You treat the things you love and care about with incredible respect. Unless you have ADHD, because then you forgot what you're doing halfway through holding the thing. Case in point, me with this watch. I meant to change the time half an hour ago. It thinks that it's currently 7:30 when it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. To wrap up the video, any closing remarks?
I would just say, Car Rant just turned 9 years old. Happy birthday.
And Evo Most Wanted was the first episode ever.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that? It was shot on a phone.
It was the very first episode. We've moved up. We're on a Canon R now, so.
Yeah, one camera. Yeah.
But we're going back to our roots. A lot of stuff is going to change, but it's also going to be very familiar. And I think
Going
that
back to seasons 1 through 6.
Yeah.
Really 1 through 5, but 1 through 6.
1 through 6, we're going back to just the fun that we would have
It's back with the boys.
back with the boys, struggling with builds,
Blowing up the 240.
blowing up
again.
240s, me trying to get one screw off the Metro.
Maximum chill.
Insert Bob Saget. But
Oh, man.
we are going to. I'm excited. I'm excited for
the shenaniganry.
for year 9. I'm excited for the time that we have ahead.
Oh, yeah.
We're really, honestly, car season is starting up in Columbus. We're Cars and Coffees tomorrow, which
Cars and Cigars is tomorrow.
I'll be missing that. If Cars and Cigars is tomorrow, I'm there.
I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure. But the problem is it like ends right as we need to be
We
back
will
at
be
home.
back to, yeah, but
Baby's first photo shoot.
car season's starting, which means that
It's
we're starting fresh at the best possible time. So
I'm about to be burnt to a crisp with being outside all the time.
I'm excited. I mean, this year,
He's gonna be black. I'm gonna be brown.
I'm
We're
always
It's
black.
gonna be a whole new nationality of crew up in here.
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
but last year I didn't go to a ton of stuff.
That's true.
This year I'm gonna go
true.
to every possible thing I
I
can.
went to a couple events last year.
I want to go to Katie's tomorrow,
Good luck. You have to get up early.
but I'm getting breakfast with the fam.
Are you really?
Yeah, so
Who are you getting breakfast with? Aunt, uncle? Oh, okay.
uncle. But so we'll see about that. But no, this year I'm gonna go to possibly everything that I can. Last year I really took like a break from going to car stuff, which I regret doing because there's some really cool stuff that happened last year.
Really?
But this year, Columbus is going to hold a lot of cool stuff. The night scene in Columbus has made a comeback last year, pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably be attending stuff on the night scene. The Cars and Coffee events are bigger and better. The event 4 or 5 with the Triple F collection
Oh, really?
that we
That's coming through?
sponsor. I think that we're gonna do it again.
Let's go.
Which
I want to see that, but I am stuck out here for
it's
right now.
it's an incredible showcase of hypercars.
It's like festival speed kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing. It's all for charity. Make a Wish.
Yeah.
All the proceeds go to that. But there's some pretty Miller Motor Cars comes out to that. McLaren Philadelphia comes out to that. There's they've had guys like Stradman and whatnot
Big names.
show up to that.
Man,
So
how cool would it be if we got to a point where we had like a cool enough build for their taste anyway to have our own car rant booth? Like we have our own slot.
yeah,
Like this is what I'm talking about when I say challenge, man. Like let's do a thing and be intentional, and this is the goal.
Yeah.
Even if it's not this year, we get there sometime.
Yeah.
You know.
but yeah.
Anyway.
You're gonna Columbus people. I don't know how many are subscribed to the channel from Ohio, but you're gonna see me at a lot of stuff. Dayton Cars and Coffee. I've not realized it, but I need to go for one myself. It's massive.
Is it?
Dayton Cars and Coffee is humongous.
Now is it like massive, like Chick-fil-A Sterling massive?
It's probably like Cars and Cigars massive for a Cars and Coffee, and there's some really cool stuff that shows
I
up.
have to try and show up one of these days.
But yeah, Dayton Cars and Coffee. I'll be going to that.
I know I'm going to be in Dayton eventually for a Fatter Dapper thing. So maybe we'll make it a double date.
Hocking Hills Cars and Coffee, which is a phenomenal drive. It's scenic, but I'll be documenting a lot of that in short form content as much as possible. But I'm excited to see what this car season holds.
And I know for us, completely different note for us, one of the things that I'm actually going to be trying to do, if you don't follow the Fatter Dapper, it's my personal like fashion journey page. I'm going to be in Italy in a couple months. My goal is to be able to go to see Maranello, to capture maybe a day or two of some of what's in Italy for car culture. Because one of the things that I absolutely loved was when Larry Chen actually did stuff in Italy for Maserati, and he got to pull up to some of the coolest car meets ever out there. Granted, they have very, very strict laws, so it's very, very underground when it comes to like modding cars and all that. But seeing guys that have built Truenos and knowing that they did it for the love of the car, and here those cars are expensive. There, add like another zero. They're that level of expensive for Japanese. So they've got, $80,000 Truenos rolling around, and they're going to meets together, and they're doing it for the love of the game. I want to highlight that. I want to see that for myself, and maybe someday when I move there, be a part of that. Even if it is with a ridiculous stretched out moped. Like, I would love to be able to do that. So I know for me, there's going to be that. I'm going to get back to my roots with tinkering and doing stuff with the mopeds. I've talked about how I'm going to start that up. Once this move is done, I don't need a garage. I can just build it on my porch. That's the benefit of having these tiny, tiny vehicles. And just do stuff with them, man. Mm-hmm. Show it off.
Right.
One of the most popular videos on our TikTok, believe it or not, is me struggling to start the moped because it was like just warm enough so all the gas had evaporated out of the carb. So it just did not want to start, and I was about ready to give up going to work. And the other one, literally grocery shopping with it. I put what would be now like $220 worth of groceries all onto that moped and drove home. People were like, how did that fit? And I was like, well, watch the video. And it's in the thousands of hits now. So I want to get to that because that was a huge period of time for us on the channel.
Yeah.
But with that said, I hope you guys are all looking forward to what we've got coming. And pray for us because we're going to need it because it's going to be a lot of work going ahead. But we are doing it for the love of the craft. And we're doing it for the love of the crafts.
And of the
Plural.
car.
Well, that's what I mean by the car because the vehicle is technically a craft.
Fair.
With that said, we love you all. We're now officially running late to a family function, so we'll catch up with you guys another time. God bless y'all. We'll see you next time. Peace. This podcast is now going to be all about this dog. Do you have a word for our sponsors? Thank you very much.